I'm Ann Dart.
I'm Tracy Stormy.
And I'm Kathy Knight.
And together we are
It Was a Dark and Stormy Book Club,
a podcast for mystery lovers.
Welcome. Hello, and welcome to Bookends number 14. And we are blowing in the wind here, literally.
I'll tell you, Maryland, I don't know what's going on. Somebody stuck a pin in a voodoo doll on a map somewhere, but wow.
We are experiencing a nor'easter. I drove down to Tracy's this morning and had a tailwind and made it in 40 minutes instead of an hour like it usually does.
She was like a witch on a broom.
Well, how do you know I'm not?
Yeah, I'm not saying anything.
She better not. All right.
We have a very exciting episode this week. We have actually 3
sections to our podcast this time.
Hold tight. It's going to be a doozy.
The first thing we have is an interview with Jessica Jarlvi, who is the author of What Did I Do?
Jessica was born in Sweden, and she moved to London before her career in publishing, editing, and PR took her to the USA and to the Middle East. Having also completed her master's in creative writing and taught journalism to undergraduate students, writing is her true passion. Jessica won a Monte Grappa First Fiction Award at the Emirates Festival of Literature in 2016, catching the eye of her agent, Luigi Bonami. Having since secured a multiple book deal, Jessica, known by friends to be infectiously positive, balances her time between her writing and her growing young family.
Her family is growing.
And you'll find out about that during the interview. So welcome, Jessica.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
Good.
My first question to you, probably the most important one, is how do you balance writing with your family and work? And do you ever sleep?
Well, sleep is definitely a luxury for me because I have a 6-month-old daughter. But I also have to say that since becoming a mother, I have become very efficient with my time. And also because writing is what I love to do, it's important for me to show the children that you can pursue something that you're passionate about. But for sure, it helps that I have a very supportive husband. We have 4 children, so we have to operate as a team.
How old are the other children?
So I have 6-month-old, 4-year-old, a 12-year-old, and a 14-year-old. So the whole spectrum.
I'd be drinking.
You do not look good enough to have a 14-year-old.
No, you don't.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. It's a busy life, but a really fun one.
Oh, I bet.
I would rank What Did I Do up there with other unreliable narratives like Gone Girl and Girl on a Train. How difficult was it to keep all your characters' storylines straight with all the twists and turns?
Well, first of all, thank you for saying that. I really appreciate that. My first book, When I Wake Up, had 5 perspectives. So from that point of view, it was actually easier to write What Did I Do because there are only 3 perspectives. But during editing, I did read through each character from start to finish just to make sure that it flowed.
Very good.
In a book such as this, what is more important, the plot or the character development?
It's a really tricky question, actually. Plot is always important, but for me, the characters do come first. I tend to choose my characters before I work out the plot and decide what journey they're going to be on. So that's my process.
Very good. Now, this book tackles some pretty tough subjects like human trafficking and mental illness. Was it important for you to shine a light on these subject matters?
Absolutely. I have OCD myself, which is something I haven't really talked about before. And although Christine, the character in the book, although her OCD is much more exaggerated than mine, I wanted to highlight how it can complicate your thought process, which at times can be absolutely exhausting. But with regards to human trafficking, I find it just horrendous that some people take control of other people's lives and take away their free will. But I especially wanted to highlight that this can happen anywhere, including the US, and how easily young women can fall prey to this.
Yeah. yeah.
You did an excellent job of showing how these young women can be drawn in, and it just, my heart broke for her in the book. And as far as the OCD goes, speaking from somebody who does not suffer from this, I could feel the anxiety that Chris was going through.
Oh, yeah.
That was definitely the idea. And with regards to the human trafficking as well, my heart was constantly breaking when I was doing research for the book, because I read so many different accounts of women having experienced this. So I kind of used all of that to create this one character, and it's just horrendous. And I really wanted to shine a light on it.
Well, you did an amazing job of portraying.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
It was very well done.
All your books so far have been in the thriller genre. Do you have any plans to write any other genres, or do you have any books planned right now in the work?
I like suspense personally, because I like the idea of the reader wanting to turn that page to work out what's going to happen next. And I definitely will write more in this genre. But yes, yeah, I know it's exciting for me too. But I think because I have so many children, I would like to write something that they can read, but also because I want to inspire young readers, because I think it's really important that you get excited about reading from a young age. So I would like to in future to be able to do both.
That's great.
That's wonderful. Can you talk about your experience about winning the Monte Grappa First Fiction Award at the Emirates Festival of Literature?
Yes, it was the most amazing experience for me. I knew it was going to be very competitive, but I kept visualizing being up on that stage, as one of the winners. And after the competition, I met with the judge, who was a literary agent from the UK. And then once I had finished the manuscript, he signed me and sold the manuscript to a publisher. And just the whole thing was obviously incredible. But also just working with people who are passionate about books is so thrilling. And I really hope that my story can inspire other writers out there, that if you keep writing and you enter competitions, you send your material off, that eventually it will pay off. Because sometimes it can really feel like you're hitting your head against a brick wall when you're trying to get published. But you just need to find that one loose brick, that someone who believes in you, and then you're on your way.
That's great advice. I think people do run into that wall and they just don't know how to move past it.
A lot of people just give up when they hit
I think, my best advice would be to, maybe write a different book, write something new. It's very hard to let go because you put so much effort into it, but your first book could be published further down the line. So maybe just try something different and send that out there and just keep going.
That is so true.
Give up.
We've heard from other authors that sometimes it's all about the timing. Because one of our authors wrote a book about an older woman who was a retired FBI agent, and the world just wasn't ready for that. But then once older women became more in vogue, the publisher said, I've been looking for this book.
Oh, amazing. Yeah, that's a great story. I mean, exactly. And the thing is, is that publishing is a business. We sometimes forget that. So they are looking for something that's commercial and something that's going to sell. So you're absolutely right. It might be that the idea that you have, it might not sell today, but it might sell in the future.
Right. That's good advice.
What authors inspire you?
So many talented writers out there. I read a wide range of books in different genres. But I think some authors that I would like to highlight are Margaret Atwood, Joyce Carol Oates, the late Stieg Larsson, Sophie Hannah, Sarah Waters, Mary Kubica. I mean, I can go on, but I do really admire authors as well that are able to write in different genres. And I think that J.K. Rowling and Stephen King are examples of that. I think they're fabulous, very successful authors.
Absolutely. We love them.
Yes. Do you have any upcoming books or events you'd like our listeners to know about?
Yes, of course. In the next month, I'm going to be running a workshop together with author Annabelle Cantaria here in Dubai for those who are entering the Monte Grappa First Fiction competition. And I'm also doing a talk for the Swedish Women's Educational Association. And at some point in the future, I'm going to be in Chicago at the Swedish American Museum to talk about books and writing. And I am really, really looking forward to meeting US readers there.
That's great.
And you'll update your website with those events?
Absolutely.
Great.
Yeah, it's all on my website. Yes.
So we will put your website in our show notes. So if anybody would like to check that out, they can give it a look.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. And thank you guys for the good work that you do. I think it's amazing that you highlight, writers out there globally and connecting readers with writers.
We are always looking for our next favorite, and if we wouldn't have went on this journey, we would have never found What Did I Do? And I am so glad I did. You are definitely responsible for some sleepless nights for me because I couldn't put the book down.
Oh, excellent. Well, I'm really happy to hear that.
Excellent book.
Well, thank
Thank
you
you
so
very much.
much, Jessica. And when you write your next book, check in with us. We'd love to have you back on.
I will do, absolutely. Thank you guys so much. Have a lovely day.
You too.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Well, that was a great interview. And Jessica is sitting in Dubai as we speak.
That's I think our furthest interview we've done.
I think so too. And we thank her for taking time to talk with us and wish her all the best with her writing.
And her growing family.
And her growing family. I don't know where the woman finds the time to look so good with 4 kids. I looked like a witch with 2.
It's that Swedish blood, I think.
I think so too. I didn't get any of that. Old Welsh, Cornish, sticky blood running through the veins.
Watch it, Mom. You're going to offend somebody.
Well, I have the pasty English complexion.
Yeah, thanks for passing that down to me.
Well, your father could have given you a little bit.
Well, I got German on his side, so.
Yeah, so we're pasty no matter what. Okay, we are now going to highlight Hunting the Troll by Mark Richardson. Mark has had his short fiction published in numerous library and crime journals, including Hobart, Fugue, Segway, Crime Factory, Switchback, Crime Number Magazine, and Nth Position. He grew up in the Chicago suburbs where he developed a lifelong love of the Chicago Cubs. To date, he has yet to discover a cure for that. He graduated from the University of Iowa, spent a number of years living in Los Angeles, and now calls Northern California his home. He's married with 2 children. For work, and he says, yes, most writers need a real job. He is a writer, marketer, and communication strategist for tech companies in Silicon Valley. For more information on Mark's books, you can go to Mark Richardson Author, all one word, .com. I had a little bit of a problem when I first started reading this book. More of a, well, it has a mystery vibe, so that's why we included it. But it's more computer geek, fantasy, video game, mystery, sort of futuristic world book. Now, his protagonist in the book had no name, none at all. And he did that on purpose.
That's interesting.
It was very strange to read a book. There was no physical description.
It's almost like a computer-generated.
Right. Well, they never even called him, hey, buddy, hey, pal, hey, no nickname.
Well, that took some pressure off of him. He didn't have to come up with a name for his protagonist.
Now, me, when I was reading it, I started calling him just to give him some kind of a name. Because once you got into the book, it was very, very good. It grabbed your attention. Even though I'm not computer literate by any means, I know on and off, and that's about it. And I can get on the internet.
I think we're learning more just by doing this podcast.
Yes. But all by myself, I can turn on the internet. Also, I think that's a plus.
I think she does pretty good for somebody in her mid-70s.
Don't tell people how old I am. I'm 29 again. We sent Mark some questions, and he was very gracious and answered those. We weren't able to schedule a live interview, but
we really appreciate him taking the time to answer these. What was the reasoning behind you not giving the protagonist in the book a name? Well, maybe we'll get the answer to that now. The protagonist is never given a name. He is also never given a physical description. That was intentional and done mainly because I wanted all responsibility for determining the ethnicity and appearance to land on the reader. Pretty much just left it up to us to give the person a description.
Right.
Which I think we do anyway. You always kind of picture somebody in your head.
Yeah, and you know who I pictured when I was reading this book? Your son, Jeremy.
Yeah, I had a feeling.
Because he's computer geeky, and he would be a good protagonist in a story like this. The next question is, this could not be classified as a typical mystery, but does have mysterious elements like where is the captain and what happened to him? Will there be any type of prequel to go into that story in more depth? And his response is, you're right. It's not a traditional mystery, but I do think it has the qualities of a mystery. Specifically, I tried to weave in tropes that you'd find in a typical detective novel. I like how detective novels keep the storyline moving forward and enjoy reading cross-genre novels, and that's what I tried to write.
Who or what books influenced you to begin writing? When writing the novel, I imagined I was combining magical realism you'd find in Haruki Murakami novel with some plot elements used by two of my favorite crime writers, Sarah Gran and Scott Phillips.
What do you think is in the future for computers in the real world?
Oh, this should be interesting.